beautiful people. How are you doing? How are you today? My name is Taiwo, and you're welcome back to my YouTube channel, Easy Sewing with TAIC. Today on the channel, we'll be drafting and cutting this gorgeous Ankara dress that has lots and lots of details, such as flounce, cold shoulder gigot sleeve, keyhole design, among others. So if this is something you're interested in, then I suggest that you keep watching. Now, if today is your first time of coming across this channel, you are welcome. I'm excited to have you here, and I can assure you that you will love it here. To all my new and existing subscribers, thank you all for the show of love. Your support via diverse means keeps me going. I appreciate you all so much. Please ensure that you subscribe if you are yet to. Like, share, leave a comment for me, and put on the post notifications to get notified immediately I upload new videos. Okay, now let's get started. Now, starting with the upper part of the front, the bodice, I've gone ahead to put in all my vertical measurements. So that is the start point, that is the chest line or the armhole line, that is the bust point, that is the under bust, and the last line that I have there is the half length. That's the half length for the front. That's the neck to the waistline for the front. For now, the half length for the back is shorter than that of the front, and it is 1.5 inches shorter than the half length for the front. To understand better, you can watch my video on how to take accurate body measurement. The back half length is usually shorter than the front half length because of the bust bulge. The link to that video, as well as my video on how to draft accurate basic bodies, would be in the description box. So continue with the front pattern. I'll go ahead and come down by 5.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and connect that using a broken line. After which, I'll go ahead and put in the bust span measurement. The bust span that we're working with is 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5, because we are assuming that this pattern is on fold. So I'll start measuring 3.5, starting from the bust point all the way to the half length, and I'm going to connect it together like so. Now I'll go ahead and put in the shoulder measurement on the start line. The shoulder measurement that we're working with is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I'll put that on the start line, then I'll go ahead and put it on the chest line and connect it together like so. This is because I want to draft the armhole. Now, after doing that, I'll go ahead and put in the bust measurement on the chest line. You want to go ahead and divide your bust measurement by 4. Whatever you have, put it there on the chest line. Come up by 2 inches like so. Just follow through with what you can see me do on the screen. Come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then on that 2 inches mark, you just want to go in by half inches like so. When you are done with this, all you have to do is just to connect the 3 points together using your ruler this way and your armhole curve. The next thing to do now is to put in the neck dimension. So I'll be working with 3 by 3.5. So the width is 3 inch and the depth is 3.5. I'll go ahead and connect it like so. After which, I'm just going to connect my shoulder slope this way. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to alter this pattern into a bustier. So to do that, from the center front that way on that dotted line, I'm going to come out by 4.5 inch. By 4.5 inch, then I'm going to connect it all the way to the bust point that way, where the bust span measurement starting from. You want to go ahead and connect it this way. Now on both sides, I'm going to measure is 0.8 inch on both sides. Now this is 0.8 inch is fine for the bust size that I'm working with. If you're working with a bigger bust, then you can make use of 1 inch. Doing this, it's not going to gape at all and it's going to fit perfectly. Once I'm done measuring out the 0.8 inches, I'm going to go ahead and connect it all the way to the bust point like so. After which, I'll proceed to the under bust to do the under bust tightening. What we just finished doing is the over bust tightening. So on the side that is facing the center front, you want to come in by half inch like I did. And on this side that is facing the side front, you want to come out by 2 inches. After which, you connect all the points to the bust point like so. You want to make sure that you have a curved part here. You don't want it to be straight or slanted. You want to make sure that it is curvy. Now I'll start drafting the sweetheart yoke. So I'm going to come down by 7.5. That's the cleavage that I'm working with. You can make yours lower. Then from that point, you just want to connect it all the way to the apex of the overbust tightening like so. Now I have to redraw the armhole curve, because if I go ahead and proceed with this same armhole curve, then definitely there's going to be shortage in the measurement. So here is what you want to do. You want to measure the total that you have there. Remember that we took in a 0.8 and a 0.8. You want to add that together. That's going to give 1.6 inch. Then I'm just going to go over here and replace the 1.6 inch this way. Doing this, there will be no shortage in my measurement. Also, I'll go ahead and we take the bust measurement. So here is what you want to do. You want to place your tape measure that way. Measure what you have before the first dart leg and move your tape measure to the second dart leg and we take the bust measurement. Okay, once I'm done with taking the measurement, like you can see that way, then I'm going to go ahead and add. I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 inch allowance to it. Then I'm going to redraw the armhole. Now we are not done with the armhole. Remember that we took in half inch on the 2 inches line to have that our armhole curve. So you just want to measure what you have there in that tiny space there. You want to measure what you have there. Then you want to measure it. You want to measure it on the new armhole line and just withdraw your armhole. So this one that I'm drawing now is going to be the final armhole curve for the front. So I'm gonna to mark the final armor curve with a green marker to make it more pronounced. Then I'm just going to rule a straight line from that curve all the way to the second dart leg like so. And now I'm going to go ahead and extend the dart leg from the under bust all the way to the waistline, all the way to the half length like so. After which I'll go ahead and insert the waist measurement. So just like I did for the front, you want to put your tape measure on the first dart leg, move it to the second dart leg and measure out your waistline. Doing that, you have eliminated whatever you have for your dart intake and there will be no shortage in your measurement. Went ahead to add my allowance. Now I'm just going to connect it all the way to the bust. Now the next thing to do is to take in the bust dart. So what you want to do is to measure the difference between the front half length and the back half length. Remember I said it is 1.5. So on the bust, coming down from the bust point that way, you want to go ahead and measure out the 1.5 inches and you just want to connect it that way to the bust pan. Doing this is the bust dart. By the time we are done with this pattern and it's time to cut it, and show you how to fold it. Okay, now to complete that sweetheart neckline, you want to go ahead and fold it that leg this way. Fold the first one and make sure that it matches up with the second one, and you want to have something like this. You can see that the line is not matching up, the line is not meeting up. Yes, this is how it is going to be, which is why this stage is very important. Now you have to decide which of the line you are going with. Is it the one coming from the center front or the one coming from the side? So I decided to go with the one coming from the center front and I'm just going to adjust it this way. Now when you do this, you are sure that when you are joining your bustier, there will be no shortage. After which I will add half inch to the shoulder for the shoulder joining. Now we are done with the front pattern for now. We are still going to draft out the pattern for that lace design at the front. But before that, let's go to the back and draft the back pattern. So here's the center back. Now on the start line, I'll go ahead and put in the shoulder measurement, which is 16 divided by 2, that's 8. I'll go ahead and put the shoulder measurement on the chest line also. Then I'll go ahead and put in the bust measurements also, the bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'll be adding allowance to it. So that's where my allowance is stopping. Then I'm going to connect the shoulder measurement from the chest line to the start line that way. Now that I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to put in the waist measurement. So I'm going to divide the waist measurement by 4, impute my measurement. Then I'm going to add my allowance and also my dart intake allowance. So I'm adding 1.5 allowance and 1 inch for the dart. That is 2.5. So I'm going to connect what I have together at the side. Now to plot the dart on the bust point line, I'm going to go ahead and put in the bust span divided by 2, which is 3.5. Then on both sides, I'm going to come out by half inch. That's a total of 1 inch, which was why I added 1 inch to the waist measurement the other time. Now I'm just going to connect it like so, and the dart is ready. The next thing to do now is to plot the armhole. So from the start point that way, I'll come down by half inch, and what I have left there, I'll divide it by 2. Now I'm just going to connect it from the bust measurement, not from the allowance, from the bust measurement all the way to that midpoint like so. And remember that the neck width that we are working with is 3 inches. So from that place, I'm going to slant it down to get the shoulder slope. After which I'm going to go ahead and remove half inch from the waistline of the center back that way. This is to eliminate the zipper bulge. So I'm going to mark it that way to show that I'm going to cut it out. Now you know the rule on this channel. If you take out anything from your measurement, you have to replace it back so as to avoid shortage in your measurements. So that half inch, I'm going to have to replace it back. But because I did not have enough space on this pattern paper anymore, I'll be replacing it back when I'm transferring to the fabric. But I'll write it on my pattern that way so that I do not forget when it's time to transfer it to the fabric. Now I'll just go ahead and complete the neckline. So I'll be coming down by 1.5. That's the neck depth. Remember that the neck width is 3 inches. I'm going to go ahead and connect it that way. Now for the yoke or the back design, from the midpoint of the armhole that way, I'm going to go ahead and connect it all the way to the center back like so. Then I'm going to come down by 4 inches and I'm just going to connect it this way. So I don't want it to be too opened. I don't want it to be too open. So I ended up using 4.5 and not 4 inches because I do not want it to be too open like I said earlier. And this is what I have. So all that place is my yoke. This place would be opened. There will be nothing here. I'm going to cut it all away. So we are done with the back pattern. From all this place that I'm tracing out with my scissors would be the ankara, and the yoke will be combination of ankara and lace. When we are cutting it out, you would see. The next thing to do is to add half inch to the shoulder slope for the shoulder joining. And now it's time to cut out what we have so far before proceeding into this tutorial. Now to draft out the lace design at the front, I'm going to use my basic bodice to draft it out. So what I have here is the same thing. The only reason why the pattern we drafted together is bigger is because that pattern is a bustier pattern, while the one that I'm going to use to draft out the lace, the one on top, is just normal basic bodice. But every other thing is the same. Every other thing is similar. So what I'm going to do now is to place it this way, make sure the neckline matches up. Then I'm going to trace out a little bit of that sweetheart neckline. That sweetheart neckline, I need it because of that opening design at the front. So I'm going to trace it out now. So this line, that sweetheart neckline that we have there, I've replicated it on the other pattern. So I'm going to set this aside. We are not done yet. I'm still going to show you how to cut it out and how to fold the bust that. Now let's work with this. Now determine how wide you want the opening to be, the keyhole opening to be. So I want mine to be 3 inches. So from where that sweetheart yoke neckline is going to start, I'm going to measure 3 inches and mark it out like so. After which I'm going to go in with my pen first. I'm just going to go ahead and mark out the design. So it's just like an S shape, like an inverted S shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Once I'm satisfied with what I have, I'm going to go ahead and make the pattern more pronounced using the marker. So this is what I have. So everything that I have here would be replaced with the lace. So the reason why I had to do that slanted part of the sweetheart yoke neckline, this place that you can see that I'm making more pronounced with the marker. The reason why I have to be there is so that it can guide me on how wide the opening is going to be, on how wide the keyhole is going to be. So all that place I'm marking out will be cut out. There will be nothing there. It is that opening that you can see. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Now placing it on the bustier pattern, you can see how it is. You can see that everything is matching up. All the bust line, the chest line, the under bust, the waistline, the bust that everything is matching up. So that's what you want to have. So that's the area that I said would be exposed. Now, when you do this, when you're at this stage and you're not fine with the shape that you have, or you say that the opening is too small and you want to adjust it, now is the perfect time to do that, because you can have like a you can have like a visual image of what your outfit is going to look like this way. So you can go ahead and adjust it. I'll go ahead and adjust this lace pattern to your desired shape. But I'm fine with what I have. Everything is perfect. After which I'm just going to go ahead and close the bust dart on this lace pattern. You just want to fold one dart leg that way and make sure that it matches up with the other, with the bust point line that way, and you just want to secure it with your paper tape. So I've successfully closed the bust that way. Now for the bustier pattern, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. So starting from the neckline, that sweetheart neckline that way, I'll go ahead and cut it off like this. Make sure that it matches up at that tip and there's no shortage. Then I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the dart area, the bustier dart intake, after which I'm going to go ahead and close off the bust dart. And this is what we have. So this is how it's going to be. So based off my sewing experience, I've come to know that if you have like a yoke designed this way and you do not take out the dart, it's going to gape at the neck area. It's going to gape at the neck area. So to avoid that, here is what you want to do. So you just want to have a diagonal line or a slanted line to meet the armhole that way. Then on both sides you can come out by 0.25. That is, in total we have half inch. So I'm just going to connect it all the way to the apex that way. Just follow through with what you can see on the screen. I hope you can see my pen. Now that I'm done with this, I'm just going to go ahead and make it more pronounced using my marker, after which I'm going to close off the dart this way. Doing this, you are successfully made sure that this yoke pattern, it is not going to gape, it's going to lay flat. As you can see it on me, it actually laid flat and there was no gaping at all. So here's the front pattern, it is ready. And this is the back pattern, this is what I have. So now it's time to transfer to the fabric, cut out the lower part and the sleeve and every other part that is needed. So here's the bustier part of the front pattern. I've placed it on my fabric. The fabric is on fold. I added half inches all around, but at the side I added more allowance to my side allowance. That's all I did. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it all out. And here is the other front pattern that I'm going to use how to cut out the lace. I've already gone ahead to place it on the lace fabric. It is on fold as well. So I added half inches all around except the armhole, of course. So that's the front, it is ready. And here's the back pattern. I've added my zipper allowance of 2 inches. Then I added half inch all around. So there's one more thing that I did not do when I was drafting that I'm going to do on the fabric. So to further enhance that the zip does not bulge, I'm going to go ahead and take in half inch at the lower part of the center back that way. That is at the waist area, but at the center back. So I'm going to just go ahead and reduce it like this and slant it towards the dart area. Just follow through with what you can see me do on the screen. And that's the yoke part. I added half inch all around at the lower part, at the cuffed part, and at the center back. But I did not bother to add my half inch at the shoulder area because that has already been added on the pattern. So the back pattern is ready also. Now to the lower part of this dress, I've gone ahead to fold it into using the biggest measurement that we're working with, which is the hip measurement. So I also added 1.5 inch at the hem that way. That's my hem allowance because of the type of hem finish that I'm hoping to achieve. So the full gown length is 59. I'm going to place the 59 inches on that 1.5 inches mark. Then the half length that we're working with is 16.5. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 16.5 that way. Then I'll be adding half inch to it. That is what I'm going to use to join this lower part with the upper part. Now I'm just going to go ahead and measure out the neck to the hip. I'm going to put it there. And I'm going to go ahead and measure the neck to the knee area, to the above knee. I'm going to go ahead and mark it down and roll all of that out. So that is the half length, that is the shoulder to the waistline. Then that is the shoulder to the hip and shoulder to the above knee. I've gone ahead to roll all of that across. Now on the half length, I'm going to go ahead and put in the waist measurement. The waist divided by 4. I'll put it that there and add my allowance. On the hip line that way, I'm going to go ahead and put in the hip measurement divided by 4, and I'll be adding the allowance to it. Then on the above knee line, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2 inches from my hip measurement, then divide it by 4, input it there, and then go ahead and add the allowance. And on the hem line, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3 inches or 4 inches, depending on how tapered you want it to be. Then whatever you have, divide it by 4 like we do always, and add the allowance. Now all I have to do is to connect all the markings that I have there. Connect what you have from the hem line to the above knee, then from the above knee to the hip, then from the hip to the waist. After which I'll go ahead and come down by half inch at the center front that way on the waist area, because the waistline at the front is not straight. Then I'm going to slant it all the way to the side like so. You have to remember to do this, okay? So I'm going to cut it out. Now we're going to use this to cut out the back. I have another fabric on fold. and I have 2 inches here for my zipper allowance. So if you have been following my page now, you know that I always like to do something called butt contour for the back of my dresses to make it lay properly. So the first thing you want to do is to extend your waistline like this. Extend the nail line this way. Extend it here also, and extend it here. So on the waistline, you want to come in by half inch, and as you already know, you have to replace that half inch at the side. So at the side that way, on the same waistline, you want to add your half inch. After which, you want to go ahead and extend the hip line that way to the zipper allowance area. Then you go ahead and connect it from the waistline that way to have a slanted look. And also, you want to go ahead and connect it at the side also. Notice that I did not add anything to the hip area. The only thing that we did so far is to take out half inch from the center back, that is the zipper area, and replace the half inch at the side. On the knee line, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to take half inch that way, then I'm going to go ahead and take in half inch at the side and connect it all the way to the hip area. Now for this nail line, you can go in as much as 1 inch depending on how fitted you want it to be at the nail area, but this half inch is fine for me. Now once I'm done with this, I'm going to connect it all the way to the hem as well, all the way to the hem as well. Now I've gone ahead to cut it out. So this is how it is. You can see how shapy it is. So this is the waistline. The waistline for the back is straight, unlike the front where we have to take in half inch and make it slanted. So you want to take note of that as well. And that is it about the lower part of the dress. Now it's time to move over to the flounce that would be at the side. So I have this fabric on fold, and I have 23 by 23, which is a square. So you're going to divide it into four that way and just locate the midpoint, because I do not need much, but for this purpose of today's tutorial I'm using 23 by 23, and you just want to locate the midpoint. After which, you want to go ahead and measure 1 inch from the center that way all around to form a circle. Now you can measure between 1 inch to 2 inches, that is 1 inch or 1.5 or 2 inches, but I don't think you need more than 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and do that and form my circle. Then determine the length of your flounce. So I want mine to be 8 inches. That is inclusive of the hemming allowance and joining allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and measure my 8 inches that way, starting from one side. I'm going to go ahead and measure that 8 inches till I have it in form of like an half circle. Just follow through with what you can see me do on the screen. Don't worry, you'll still be able to see it even though the chalk is not really visible now, but I just went ahead to mark the 8 inches till I have it in the form of like an half circle. Now that we have it this way, before we continue, it's time to determine where you want your flounce to start from. So I want mine to start from that side. So I'm just going to curve it this way. From that 8 inches mark, you can just follow through with what you can see me do on the screen. I'm just going to have it curved out this way. I'm going to have it curved out this way. Now that I'm done achieving this curve, from that mark, I'm going to continue measuring out my 8 inches till I can no longer get the 8 inches, till I can no longer get the 8 inches. So that's where I'm going to stop, and I'm going to rule a straight line. So I'm sure that with what I have here, it will be enough for the flounce that I need. So remember I said I place my fabric on fold. Yes, that is if you want your flounce to have a lining. It's actually better you place your lining under your fabric, because when cutting out flounce, it is better to cut it together. That is, cut the fabric and the lining at the same time. It's not that you would have cut one the main fabric, then you now want to use it to cut out the lining, though it is possible, but it's usually just better. That is why I placed mine on fold. But my own flounce would not be having a lining, so I'm not going to cut it out on fold. So I'm going to go ahead and separate it now. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut out what I have. So to cut it, you want to make a notch at the center that way, so that you can have access and start your cutting from the center that way. Then just go ahead and follow through what you have chalked out. Just follow through what you have chalked out. You can see the way I'm going about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep tracing it till I get to the end, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out that initial circle that we drew out. So this is what I have. The total length here that I have here is 17 inches, and I actually wanted to add it to a place of 10 inches, that is from the waist to the hip line, 10 inches. So I'm going to have to gather this. I'm going to have to gather this. So that is that about the side flounce. It is ready. Now it's time to proceed to the sleeve. Now it's time to cut the sleeve, and the first part I'll be cutting is the puffy cold shoulder sleeve part that I use the Ankara for. So the my elbow circumference is 12. So 12 multiplied by 3 is 36, just to have enough fullness. But I actually have 46 here. I added 10 more to make sure that I have enough fullness. So I have two of these since I'm working with two sleeves. So that's for the width. Now for the length that I have there is 14 inches. So I have factored in the 1 inch that I'll use to pass in the elastic casing, the half inch that I'll use to join this Ankara part to the straight part, which is the lace. So I factor that in. Then the excess that I have there is for the puffiness, is to have like a balloon effect. Okay. So the total length that I have there is 14 inches. When in actual sense, the length that I need is like 8 inches. But the extra that I have will give that balloon effect. The next thing I need to do now is to draw the armhole curve on the sleeve. To do that, I'll be needing my pattern. So I'm just going to remove the pattern this way, and after that, I'm going to determine where I want the sleeve to start from. So because I don't want mine to be too exposed, I'm going to come down by 3 inches. Now that I've marked it on the pattern, I'm just going to place it, but I won't be placing it this way. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and remove the 1 inch that I'm going to use for the elastic casing, so that I will not have shortage in the measurement. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it that way. Then I'm now going to replace the pattern on it this way. And also I'm going to add 1 inch to the side, so that by the time I'm done attaching this sleeve, I'm still going to have 1 inches to join the sleeve together. So you want to make sure that you remember to add 1 inch to the side for joining, and the 1 inch for the elastic casing. Once I'm able to achieve this, I'm just going to go ahead and trace out the armhole curve like so and cut it out. Now to cut the fitted part of this GIGOT sleeve, you want to go ahead and put in your elbow length. In my case, it's 10.5, but I'll go ahead and put in 10 because I'll need half inch to join it. Then also I have the full sleeve length measurement there, which is 22 plus 1 inch allowance, which is 23. Now at the tip that we want to go ahead and put in the elbow circumference divided by 2 and add your allowance. And at the end that way, you want to go ahead and put in your wrist circumference and add your allowance. Then you just want to connect the two lines like so and cut it out. So this fabric, I have it on fold, and I have two of it for the two sleeves. So this is what I'm going to achieve at the end of the day. By the time I'm done pleating the lower part, I'm going to have that balloon effect like you can see on the finished outfit. So the only thing left to cut now is that lace that you can see at the front. And to do that, you just want to determine the length. So I want it to stop around the hip area here. So I have like 10 inches. And since it is gathered, you want to cut at least 2.5 inches more than what you have. So that's 10 times 2.5, or 10 times 3, that's 30. But I even have 36 here. I have 36 here. What I have here is 36. Okay, what I have here is even 42. So it will be enough for me to gather properly. And the length that I have here, because the length that I have here can accommodate the hip measurement and the waist measurement. So when I'm ready, I'm just going to plait it this way. I'm just going to plait it this way and plait it this way when I'm ready. And that is that about that. You just want to cut out the width here, your hip measurement like this, and the length multiply it by 3, at least 3 or 2.5. But in this case, since you are working with lace and it's so lightweight, that's why I added more, and I have 42. If you are using Ankara, then multiplying by 3 should suffice, because you don't want it to be too bulky. So that is all that we have. And that will be all for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you gain value. If all of this is yes, then kindly give it a thumbs up. Don't leave without liking. Share it, okay? Leave a comment for me. Let me know what you think. You can also connect with me on other social media platforms. It's at EasySewing with TAIC on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to do so. Thank you and see you in my next video. Bye.